Hello and welcome back to your mat. Today we're going to work through the pose called side plank. And I'm kind of calling this a bit of a steps of a journey. So don't get intimidated by, oh, side plank, that's beyond what I'm able to do right now. We're going to work up to that. And I'm going to show you some modifications so you can work to that modification that works for you. So we'll get started with a quote by Gray Anderson. Focus on the journey, not the destination. This is really important for today's class. Focus on the journey, not the destination. Joy is found not in finishing an activity, but in doing it. So we're just going to play around today. Don't get caught up in, do you get all the way to the full expression of the pose? That's not what's important. Enjoy the journey. Don't need any props for today's class. We're going to get started with some warm-ups here. So this is part of to help you work into this. So you could always do more of these as you want to practice this pose. So we're going to do some side stretches first to open up the side body. And then we're going to go from there. So I'm going to stretch my right arm out long on the mat. On the side here, out to coming from my right hip. Left arm up overhead. And we're going to give a nice side stretch here. Keep that left hip grounded. And you can come as deep as you like or more upright. And I also want you to keep your chest open here. We're not spinning. We're not trying to twist and look down. We're really keeping the chest open. We're really going for that side body length here because that will be important in our side plank. So take a couple of breaths here. Really give yourself some nice opening here. Keeping that left hip grounded. And then inhale and come up and go to the other side. So left hand out from the left hip. And right arm up overhead. Again, keeping the right hip grounded and keeping that right chest spun open. Breathing here, and again, you can come down as low as you like or stay more upright. But you're really looking for a nice lengthening here on that right side. And then come all the way back up. And now we're going to warm up the wrist a little bit. And for this one, I want you to come to all fours. And for today, we're going to keep the knees down for this little exercise. So keep your knees down. You're in all fours. And all you're going to do is rock yourself forward and back. So we're not lowering down at this point. We are just working on giving the wrist a little bit of love here before we get into our side plank. So rocking forward, your knees are down. Rocking forward, you have a nice straight long back. Come back to all fours, rock forward. And back to all fours. And it's also important here to keep that index finger and thumbs down because they'll tend to want to come off of the mat and you want to really press down through all of those so you're not just on the one side of your wrist or hand. And then from here, we're going to go into plank. And this is a great warm-up to help us with side plank. So this is going to help the core. So you have some options here. You are always welcome to just stay in plank with your knees down. You can come into forearm plank if that feels better on your wrist, or you can come into full plank. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my timer here. And so you can choose. We're going to do a 15-second hold, a 20-second hold, and a 30-second hold. I'll let you know when those times are up so you can decide how long you want to stay in. So pick your version. It can be either knees down, knees up, or forearms down and come into forearm plank. They're all going to help strengthen the core. So let's get started. I'll tell you when we're going to start. Okay. Pick your variation. I'm going to go with forearm plank today. And time has started. So we're going to hold for 15 seconds. Breathe through this. You can always come down anytime you need. Let your knees drop if you need to. This is really going to strengthen the core, which is really going to help in our plank pose. Our side plank. There's 15 seconds. If you got more, keep holding it. There's 20 seconds. If you got a little bit more, hold it a little bit longer here. Let it shake. And that is 30 seconds. You want to hold it for a little bit longer? Anybody else want to go for 45? Let's go for another 10 seconds. Come on, 45 seconds here in plank. And drop those knees. Come on back up. Sit on your heels for just a moment. Okay, we really strengthen that core. So that is something that I would suggest for this and everything we've done so far. These would be great things to warm you up for the side plank. So if you're wanting to work into this pose. Now what we're going to do now is I'm going to go through 4 modified versions of this. You pick the one that you need to stay with and stay there. So if we go on to the second one and the first one is enough for you, then that's where you stay and you practice there. And eventually you'll build yourself to the second one, steps of a journey, then you'll build yourself up to the third one, and finally to the fourth one. It's not about how long it takes you to get there or if you ever get there. It's about the journey. So remember, these are steps to help you get there. So we're going to start in all fours here. And from here, I'm just going to swing my right leg back behind me. So now my knee is on the mat and my foot is behind me. Bring that right hand out, and I like to have step mine out a little bit further away from my shoulder. So I don't want it right underneath my shoulder. I like to have it a bit further out. This helps just with the wrist and the shoulder here. And then you bring this left foot down on the mat. And this is your first modified version of side plank. You can bring the arm up overhead or over your ear if you like. But you got this nice long stretched side here. You're still using your core because there is some balance still involved. And if you do want to challenge yourself here and you want to stay in version number 1, one thing you could do is rise that left foot off the ground any amount, because you see now you do have to engage that core to keep your balance. But you have this little kickstand to help you. So this is a great place to stay and to start. And maybe you stay here for a little while and this is your side plank. Let's go ahead and practice the other side. So we're going to go ahead and stay in that modified version. And I'll do it now turning the other way so you can see it from the other way. So you're now in all fours again. Swing that left leg out behind you. Your right foot is on the ground, out stretched here. Bringing that left hand up a little bit further. The arm can go up overhead. And you can stay here. This is a nice modified version of side plank. You're still getting some core here. You're still getting some strengthening. If you want to challenge us a little bit, if you're ready, lift that right foot up off the ground any amount. That will also allow you to still balance. But you have this little kickstand. So that's an option. So that is the modified version number 1. So stay there if that works for you. We're going to go into a modified version number 2. But what you can do is just stay there. Go back into that first pose if you like. Otherwise, if you would like to join me for the second one. So the second modification is also with a kickstand, but the kickstand is going to be out front. So I'm going to bring that left foot out in front of me, about halfway through on my mat. Go ahead and place your hand up a little bit out from your shoulder, and then you're just going to bring that bottom leg straight out on the mat. Out. So now you're in another modification, but now you're having to use a little bit more here because you have to really pick the hips up here, but you still have your kickstand. Hand can go up overhead. So this is the next version. Go ahead and release that down. We'll go ahead and try the other side. Now again, you always have the option to stay with that first version. So same thing. Go ahead and step that right foot out and about halfway up your mat. Place your hand where you like it. And now your left leg, your bottom leg, is out straight. Still got your kickstand, but now you have to work a little bit more to keep that hip up. And you want to not dip here. You want to bring that left hip, all of your hip up. Rise your hand up overhead and breathe here. This is definitely more challenging. And go ahead and bring yourself back down. That's 2 of the steps. For those who would like to try the next step, again, there's no pressure and don't feel like I have to do the next one. Go back to either the first one or the second one. Play around with those. And if you find that you need to build up your strength, then those are the ones you stay with for a while until you build the strength up to go to the next one. It's perfectly fine. This is all steps. So now we're going to come into my right side here. I've got my right hand out. My left leg is on the bottom, so it's much like it was. And then the only difference is you're going to bring this right foot near. So it's going to be out in front. So you have a little bit more of a kickstand still. But now you're really having to hold yourself up. Core is really engaged. Arm can reach up overhead. Breathe there. If you're one of the other modified versions, breathe there and lower. We'll do the other side. So you pick what you like. Again, this is a nice little drill, even if you're not staying on one of the other ones, to go through it a few times. So let's try that on the other side. Place the left hand. Your left foot is on the bottom. And then I'm bringing my right foot out in front of my left foot. So it kind of helps give me a little bit more stability here. But I'm really having to use all of that strength to hold myself up. Breathe there, whatever version you're in. Lower down. And now we're going to do the last version. I'm going to do my best to not fall over. On camera, you never know what's going to happen. So again, stay with version number 1, number 2, number 3, whichever works for you. Or if you want to try it, you feel that you have the strength, you feel that you're ready for this next one, go for it. But don't push yourself here if you're not ready for it. It's okay to stay in one of the other ones. Same thing, my right hand is placed higher up on my mat. My right foot is going to be outstretched, and my left foot, my feet are going to be stacked. So the right foot is on the bottom, my left foot is on top of my right foot. And when I feel steady, I rise that arm. And as you can see, this is obviously much more challenging because now you're balancing, strength, and you can always use your kickstand if you need to, if you fall. And come on back down, whatever version you were in. And I'll try it on the other side, see if I can do a better job on the other side. I'm also on a little bit of uneven ground here, so that's adding even more of a challenge. So last side here. Go ahead and left hand is on the ground as your base. Stack your feet. Bring your hand up if you're coming into the full pose. And I'm sliding onto my mat, so that's not helping. Whatever version you're in, take a deep breath there. Exhale and release it all back down. Shake out your wrist. Whatever step of the journey you got into that. So if you were staying on step number 1, good job. That's a great place to start. It's a great way to build that strength. If you get to step 2, great. That's another great way to build and add on that strength. Step 3 adds on even more. And obviously the full expression of the pose is, as you can tell from my breathing even, it's obviously challenging. So you work up to that. And if you don't get there, that's okay. Those other ones are great modifications that still give you the same benefit. So you're still going to get the strength and you're still going to get the core work. You're still going to get the side body opening. You don't have to come into the full expression. You can always use one of your legs as a kickstand. Thank you for joining me for this Steps of a Journey. I hope that you enjoyed this class. And until next time.